talked about the mammalian alimentary canal, right? So we looked into the mammalian alimentary canal and we focused on three mammals, which are the man, sheep, and dog. All right, those are the mammals we focused on. Okay, so and we said that the alimentary canal is a long tube that runs from the mouth to the anus, and it is responsible for digestion, which start from the mouth. There are different organs that are involved. Okay, and organs like mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the rectum, the anus. We talked about the accessory organs, which are the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. And we talked about the general characteristics of enzymes. Okay, so and we treated some past questions under the topic. Okay, so today we are moving to transport. We are moving to transport. Okay, so when you hear the word transport, the word is very common. In fact, we make use of the word transport almost every day. All right. So when you're going out, you'll be like, oh, I need to take pick my transport fare. I need to take transport and all of that. So you make use of the word transport almost every day because you go out. All right. So when we talk of transport, we are not talking of the transport by road or going out. No, we are talking about our body system. We are talking about the body system in mammals. Okay, so we there is a word called transport also in mammals, in living organisms. Okay, because the things inside of us, there are organs, there some waste products and some other substances in the body move around our body. So the substances, the organs in our body, they are not just there, they function and they involve transporting different substances for all the body to function well. Okay, so that is what we are looking into today. So when we talk of transport in living organisms, transport in organisms typically means or it refers to how substances such as nutrients, the water, the blood, the waste products, the gases are moved within the living organisms. Just like I explained earlier, that the different substances in our body, that is the waste products, the waste, the substances, the water, the different substances, the nutrients, the gases, the blood in our body, they are not static. They move around the body for our body to be able to function well and effectively. So that is what we mean by transport in organisms. All right. So generally, the system involved, um, you know, there are different transport systems. Okay. So, and when we talk of living organisms, we refer to both plants and animals, not just human being. So we talk about the living organisms generally. All right. So if you can hear me and you are with me, please thumbs up so I can know you are with me. All right. So, and wherever you're watching from, please like, comment, and click on the subscribe button for you to keep getting videos as for you to keep getting videos like this. All right. So please subscribe to this channel. All right. So as I was saying, transport in living organisms. When we talk of living organisms, we are not just referring to animals. We refer to both plants and animals. And transport occurs in both plants and animals. All right. So we are going to start with plants. We are going to start with transporting plants. Okay, transport in plants. All right. So, transporting plants, there are systems involved in transport. Just like I said earlier, there are different systems involved in transport. Okay, so we are starting with transporting plants. And what are the systems involved in plants, in transport in plants? All right. So I'm going to be showing us a diagram. Okay, I'm going to be showing us a diagram to show us the systems involved in transport in plants. What are the systems involved? How does the transport systems work in plants? All right. So I am going to be presenting a chart to us all for you to see the transport systems in plants. All right, so take a look at what we have here on the bird. So we have what we call, you can see the plant up here. There's plants here. We have the transport of water and minerals. We have transport of food, and we have transpiration. Those are the systems. Those are the processes. Those are the major processes involved in transport in plants. Okay, so and when we talk of the transport of water here, when we talk of the transport of water here, transport of water and minerals, what is the system involved? What is the system that is responsible for transport of water and minerals? So we have the xylem here. This is the xylem. As you can see the plant. So the whole plant, we have two major systems that are responsible for transport in plants. All right. So the first system is xylem. This is xylem on the bird. Xylem. Xylem. So what is the function of xylem? Xylem is responsible for what you see here, transport of water and minerals. All right. So the function of xylem in plants, it is a vascular tissue, and it is responsible for transport of water and minerals from the roots to other parts of the plant. As you can see, this is the plant here. This is the plant, and this is the roots down here. So the root is connected to the soil, where it absorbs the water and minerals needed by the plant. So what is responsible for transporting of water and minerals in plants is what we call the xylem. Xylem is a vascular tissue. So as the root is absorbing the water from the soil, the xylem is transporting it to other parts of the plant. You know, the xylem cannot just hold the water and the minerals. It has to distribute it to the other part of the plant so that the other part of the plant can be um can be can function well. All right, so that the other part of the plant can function well, um and also absorb the needed nutrients. All right, so it is the xylem that is responsible for transporting and distributing the water and minerals absorbed from the soil. So that is the function of xylem. All right, so the second system responsible for transport of water and minerals is the phloem. Here is the phloem, and the phloem is responsible for the transport of food. As you can see here on the bird, the phloem is responsible for transport of food. All right, so it is also a vascular tissue for transport of food from the leaves to other parts of the plant. From the leaves to the other parts of the plant. The phloem cannot hold the food alone. It has to distribute it to the other part of the plant so that all parts of the plant can function well and effectively. So they distribute both the water and food to the other parts of the plant. So system these are the major systems in transport in plants. All right. And the processes involved, there are some processes involved. They don't just distribute um they don't just distribute water and food to the other part of the plant. There are processes involved. For instance, human being for food to be transported throughout your body, there is a process. If you don't eat, there is no way you can get nutrients. There's no way water, nutrients, and food can get into your body. So there's a process involved. You have to eat it first via your mouth. All right. So there are processes involved, and the processes involved in plants are: number one, we have what we call diffusion. We have diffusion. We have osmosis and active transport. Active transport. So when we talk of diffusion is the transfer of molecules from the higher concentration to lower concentration. So if the root is absorbing water from the soil, it means that there is high concentration of water and minerals in the soil, inside the soil. So the root is trying to tap from the high concentration of water and minerals. So the process by which the root is absorbing water from the soil is what we call diffusion. Okay, so and the xylem also transports the water and minerals from the high concentration, all right, to the other part of the body where there are no water and minerals. So that is where diffusion comes in. So it transfers the molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. And when we talk of osmosis works in water molecule. All right, so it transports water molecule from the water region of high concentration to low concentration. Just that this works in water region. All right, in water region. So the processes involved in the transport of water and minerals are the diffusion, the osmosis, and the active transport. The diffusion, the osmosis, and active transport. And the active transport is the movement of molecules also, but against a concentration gradient from lower to higher concentration. From lower to higher concentration. So those are the three processes involved in the transport of water and minerals. All right, so we move to animals now. We move to mammals. All right. So we move to mammals. If you have any question that you might want to ask, you can ask using the chat box. So we treat it after the class. All right. So we move to transport in animals now. Transport in animals. Transport in animals. Okay. So when we talk of transporting animals, there are also systems involved in transports in animals. So it doesn't just occur, it doesn't just um move from one place to another. There are systems involved, there are organs involved in transport in animals. So transport in mammals, or let's say transport in animals, either of the two. Okay, so we have transport in mammals. All right, so there are also systems involved in transporting animals, and the major system involved is the circulatory system. Circulatory system. Circulatory system. This is the major system involved in animals. This is the major system involved in animals. Okay, so what's a circulatory system? What do we mean by circulatory system? From the word circulation, for something to circulate. So circulatory system, is responsible for transporting different substances like your oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, hormones, and waste products, all right, in vertebrates. So it is responsible for transportation of substances, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, hormones, waste products around the body. So it moves it to its region, to the region where it is needed, to the region where it is supposed to be. All right. So that is the function of circulatory system. So we are going to be looking at the organs, the different versus the different organs involved in the circulatory system. So I'm going to show you a diagram now so you can see and be familiar with what we call the circulatory system. All right. So here is the circulatory system. As you can see, this is the body structure. This is the body structure of human being. All right. So you can see different vessels, different capillaries. You can see everything showing here. This is how the circulatory system works in human being. This is how the vessels are connected in humans. All right. So when we talk of circulatory system, yes, the heart is involved. The heart is the major, you know, place, major organ that is responsible for circulatory system. However, it is not limited to the heart. The blood, the blood, the nutrients, everything circulates through how the body. So that is why I am showing you how it moves around the body. The blood doesn't just circulate within the heart alone, circulate throughout the body. So likewise, all other substances, nutrients, waste products, everything circulates throughout the body. So as you can see in this diagram, you can see the different verses. Okay, you can see the different channels, different capillaries. All right, so this is how it is. This is how it circulates throughout the body. However, there are some organs responsible for the circulation of all these nutrients, all this blood, all this water, waste products, and all of that. So there are organs responsible for the transport, for the transportation. All right, so we're going to be starting with the blood. We are going to be starting with the blood. We're going to be starting with the blood. All right. So we're going to be starting. Okay. So as you can see, we are starting with the blood, with the heart rather. Okay. So the heart is one of the um, organ responsible for the transportation of nutrients, water, and all other substances needed in the body. So the heart is one of the organs responsible for that. Okay, and the function of the heart, it has different organs, different it is divided into four chambers. So in the heart, you have what the we have what we call the auricles. We have two auricles for human being, two auricles or atrial, atrial, and we have two ventricles. We have two ventricles, okay, for the heart. All right, so and in the heart we have different, different vessels. After the heart, you have the blood vessels. As you can see here, we have the blood vessels, and the blood vessels is divided into three major vessels. Okay, so we have the arteries, we have the veins, and we have the capillaries. You have the arteries, you have the veins, and you have the capillaries. These are the major vessels in blood. Okay, so we have you can see how the vessels look like. This is how it looks like. So you have the veins, you have the capillaries, and you have the arteries. These three vessels, they function together to make sure that substances and nutrients are circulated around the body. And the blood is divided into four, consists of different four components. So the components of blood are the red blood cells. The red blood cells, that's the component of blood. We are here. The red blood cells. We have the white blood cells. We have the white blood cells. We have the platelets. We have the platelets, and we have the plasma. So these are the components of blood. These are the components of blood. The red blood cells, the white blood cells, the platelet, and the plasma. Okay, so don't forget we have the heart, we have the blood vessels, which I just explained. The blood vessels, they have the veins, the arteries, the capillaries, and we have the blood itself, in which the components are the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the platelet, and the plasma. All right, so those are the major components. All right, so when we talk of the heart pumps the blood. It acts as, it is a drive. It is a drive that pumps the blood to the part of the body. So the function of the heart is to pump the blood to the part of the body. And also, aside the circulatory system, don't forget we are on circulatory system. All right, so the second system is the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system. All right, the lymphatic system. So the other time I made mention of circulatory system. So the second system is the lymphatic system. So these are the two systems involved in circulatory, in transport rather. These are the two systems involved in transport in mammals. So talking about the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, we are going to be looking deep into all the systems. All right, so before we move into that, we have different materials, different materials for transportation, different materials for transportation. Okay, so we have the excretory products, we have the excretory products, we have the gases, we have the gases, we have the digested food, we have the digested food, we have the nutrients, and we have the hormones. We have the hormones. All right. So the materials for transportation, all these materials, they are for transportation. Also, we have what we have water. So all of these, they are transported within the body. They are transported throughout the body system for the body to be able to function effectively. Okay, so going back to the components of circulatory system now, going back to the components of circulatory system, I'm going to show you the diagram. I'm going to show you the diagram. Okay, I'm going to show you the diagram so you can see. So talking about the circulatory system, I said earlier that we have what we call the we have what we call the heart, the blood vessels, the blood, and the you know the different circulations in the body. All right, so we are going to be looking into the blood vessels, the heart, and the blood itself. The heart, the blood vessels, and the blood itself. These are the components of the circulatory system. Okay, so these are the components of the circulatory system. Here is the diagram of the heart. This is how the heart looks like. All right, so this is how the heart looks like. So the heart is divided into four major chambers, and we have the right atrium, as you can see here. You have the right atrium. This is the right atrium. You have the left atrium. Then you have the right ventricle. You have the left ventricle. These are the four chambers of the heart. Four chambers of the heart. The left atrium, the the left atrium, the right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. These are the four chambers of the heart. All right. So, and talking about the heart, like I said earlier, it pumps blood into the body system. It pumps blood throughout the body and the waste product throughout the body. So that's the function of the heart. It pumps blood throughout the body. So in vertebrate, it has, like I said earlier, it has four chambers. So you have the two atrial and two ventricle. All right. So talking about the blood vessels, I mentioned that earlier that we have the arteries, we have the veins, and we have the capillaries. So the function of the arteries is to carry oxygenated blood away from the heart, to carry oxygenated blood. That is the blood that has oxygen. That is the meaning of oxygenated blood. Blood with oxygen. That is what we call oxygenated blood. So it carries oxygenated blood away from the heart. All right, carries it away from the heart. But then there's a particular artery that does not function this way, which is the pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary artery, this artery you are looking at here, does not carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. It functions in a different way. So when you are talking about the artery, you need to be specific. So generally, artery carries oxygenated blood away from the heart, except the pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary artery does not function in that way. The pulmonary artery carries the oxygenated blood instead of the oxygenated blood. So it carries the oxygenated blood from the body. All right, so it functions in a different way. It carries the oxygenated blood from the ventricle, from the right ventricle here to the lungs, from the right ventricle to the lungs. So that is why I said the pulmonary artery functions in a different way. All right, so then talking about the veins carry the oxygenated blood, the oxygenated blood. So when we talk of the oxygenated blood, it means oxygen without, sorry, blood without oxygen. That is the meaning of the oxygenated blood. Blood without oxygen. That is the meaning of the oxygenated blood. Okay, so and it carries the oxygenated blood back to the heart, back to the heart, except the pulmonary vein, just like the artery. So the veins carry the oxygenated blood back to the heart, except the pulmonary vein, which means pulmonary vein functions in a different way. So if you can hear me and you're with me, you're enjoying the class, please thumbs up using the chat box. And if you have any question, you want to ask, please ask using the chat box so we can treat it together in this class before we go to the general past questions. All right. So, and we've talked about the arteries, we've talked about the veins. Then talking about the capillaries, they are the tiny vessels where exchange of gases and nutrients and waste products occurs. All right, they are the tiny vessels. They are tiny vessels, unlike the veins and the arteries. So the capillaries are tiny vessels and they are responsible for transporting waste, substances, and gases. All right, so they are tiny vessels. So when we talk of the arteries, talking about the veins, talking about the capillaries, there is a way this movement occurs. The artery does not just carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. The vein does not just carry the oxygenated blood to the heart. So there are processes involved. All right, so this is going to lead us to what we call circulation. So it's going to lead us to what we call circulation. All right, circulation. So when we talk of circulation, there are different um, types of circulation in circulatory system. There are different types of circulation in circulatory system. Okay, so talking about circulation, we have three major types of circulation. We have three major types of circulation in circulatory system. So the first circulation is the pulmonary circulation. We call it pulmonary circulation. So what do we mean by this circulation? So this is what is going to explain to us how the arteries and veins move, how they function. All right, so we classify the transport, we are classifying the movement, the circulation into three. Number one is the pulmonary circulation. Number two is systematic circulation. Systematic circulation. That is number two. Okay. And number three, we have the lymphatic circulation. Lymphatic circulation. So these are the three major circulations in the circulatory system. So we're going to be looking at it one after the other. This is what explains the movement of all the substances by the arteries, by the veins and capillaries. So these three circulation explains the movement of the substances in the body. That is, the whole circulation is divided into three, which are the pulmonary circulation, the systematic circulation, and the lymphatic circulation. All right. So the pulmonary circulation is what we call the heart to lung and back to the heart. That is the movement. Heart to lung, back to the heart. That is the movement of this particular circulation. So the pulmonary circulation functions in a way that is limited to the heart, the lung, and back to the heart. That is the movement. Heart to lung and to the heart. So this circulation carries the oxygenated blood from the heart. What do we mean by the oxygenated blood? What do we mean by oxygenated blood? Okay, don't forget you breathe in oxygen and you breathe out carbon dioxide. So the process by which you are breathing in oxygen, the oxygen will have to circulate around the body so that all the parts of your body can function well. The whole part of your body needs oxygen. And as you are breathing in oxygen, there is a particular circulation. There is need for circulation. There is need for the oxygen to be circulated throughout your body. All right. So before the oxygen can be circulated throughout your body, it definitely means that there is a part or the whole part of your body does not have oxygen until you breathe in oxygen. That is when the whole part of your body will feel oxygen and you'll be fine. You'll be all right. Like you feel you are alive. All right. So before this oxygenated blood, before your body feels oxygen, before your body feels oxygen, there is a process involved. Before your body feels oxygen, there is a process involved. And the process involved is this. So there is the oxygenated blood in your heart, that is the blood that does not have oxygen. Until you breathe in oxygen, your blood, your body system does not have oxygen. All right. So until you breathe in oxygen, that is when your body system will feel oxygen. So the deoxygenated blood in your heart, it means that before you breathe in oxygen, the blood in your heart is not um with oxygen, does not have oxygen. All right, so this process, this pulmonary circulation, will now carry the deoxygenated blood, that is the blood that is void of oxygen, the blood that is not having oxygen. It will carry it away from the heart and it will carry it to the lungs. Since your lungs is responsible for gaseous exchange, your lung is responsible for gaseous exchange. So your breathing in and breathing out is within your lungs. So if the oxygen is coming into your body system, it means that it is coming via your lungs. So the oxygen goes directly to your lungs, and since the oxygen is in your lungs, the blood that is not having oxygen will have to go to the lungs to tap oxygen, and then it will return back to the heart. That is how the process. That is the process. All right. So before you breathe in oxygen, I want to recap. Before you breathe in oxygen, the blood in your heart does not have oxygen. So the blood in your, as you are breathing in oxygen, you are making use of your lungs. Your lungs is responsible for breathing in and breathing out. So as you are breathing in oxygen, the oxygen is going into your lungs. So as the oxygen is going to your lungs, the blood that is not having oxygen in your heart is coming directly to the lungs to tap oxygen. So as it's tapping the oxygen is going back to the heart. That is the process. That is the continuous process. All right. So that is what we call and refer to pulmonary circulation. So pulmonary circulation is responsible for carrying the oxygenated blood, that is the blood that does not have oxygen, from the heart to the lungs for oxygenation, and then returns oxygenated blood to the heart. So after it might have tapped the oxygen in your lungs, it returns back to the heart, and then your heart continues to work perfectly. All right, so that is pulmonary circulation. So we go to the second type of circulation, which is the systematic circulation, as you can see here on the bird. Systematic circulation. So what do we mean by systematic circulation? This circulation is the heart to the body and back to the heart. Don't forget, the pulmonary circulation is from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart. Systematic circulation from the word body system, heart to the body, and from your body back to the heart. That is the circulation. That is systematic circulation. So what is the process? What happens in this type of circulation? So this circulation transports oxygen-rich body from the heart. Don't forget that the deoxygenated blood, that is the blood that is not having oxygen, has gone to the lungs to tap oxygen and it has returned back to the heart. So the systematic circulation now transports the oxygen-rich blood from the heart to the rest of your body. That is how the process continues until the person dies. The process continues until the person dies. All right, so the first circulation is the pulmonary circulation. So, for instance, someone that just fainted now, it means the person is not breathing in. So, the blood in that person's heart is not having oxygen, it is deoxygenated. So, not until the person awakes and starts breathing in, the oxygen goes to the lungs, and then the heart, the deoxygenated blood moves to the lung to tap oxygen and returns back to the heart oxygenated. So the systematic circulations now carries the oxygen, that is the oxygen rich blood, the oxygenated blood from the heart to the other parts of the body, so that your whole body system can function effectively. Of course, if you don't breathe in, or if your whole body system does not have oxygen, there is no way your body can function well. There is something we call there's something, sometimes you feel blood, or probably blood is not circulating through your body. It could be your leg, that you have to jam your leg with the floor or with the ground for the blood to circulate, for the oxygen to circulate well. So the blood has to, circulate, the body has to circulate oxygenated blood for all the parts of your body to be able to function effectively. All right, to be able to function effectively. So the systematic circulation transport the oxygenated blood from your heart to the rest part of your body, and then returns the deoxygenated blood back to the heart. That is, any blood in your body system that is not having oxygen, the circulation, the systematic circulation, it transports the oxygenated blood back to the heart, so that the heart can be, the blood can gain oxygen back. All right, so that is systematic circulation. So the third circulation is the lymphatic circulation. Don't forget, I said there are three major circulations in the circulatory system. The first is the pulmonary circulation, the second is the systematic circulation, and the third is the lymphatic circulation. So the lymphatic circulation transports what we call lymph. So what we call lymph, this is lymph, 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 from the word lymphatic. Okay, so lymphatic circulation transports lymph, which helps with immunity. It helps with immunity and fluid balance. All right, so that is the function of lymph. It fights against infections. It fights against infections. All right, so it fights against infections, and that is the major function of the lymph. So the lymphatic circulation transports the lymph to the rest part of the body, so that your whole part of the body can be able to fight against diseases, against infections. So that is the function of the lymph. The lymph is a fluid, so is a fluid, is a liquid. All right, so and it is transparent in nature. So we have three major circulations, as I explained earlier. The first one is the pulmonary circulation, that is the movement or transport of substances of blood from the heart to the lung and to the heart. All right. And then the second circulation is the systematic circulation, that is from the heart to the body and from the body back to the heart. And the third is the lymphatic circulation, that is, it transports lymph, which helps to fight infections. All right, so it transports it to the rest part of the body. So these are the three major types of circulation in circulatory system. So if you have any question, please make use of the chat box and ask your question so that we can treat it together in the class before we move to the general past questions. All right. So there are some specific terms in circulatory system. All right. Although we have talked about the major circulations in circulatory system, how the blood flows throughout the body, how it carries the oxygenated blood to the body, and then how the body functions effectively with this oxygenated blood. So there are other terms in circulatory system. All right. Don't forget you have different organs in your body, and each organs have different artery and veins connected to them that helps them to function effectively. Okay, so we are going to be taking the terms one after the other. So the first is the hepatic portal vein. So I'm going to wipe off this bird. I hope you understand and you have grasped what is there in. All right, so we can have space to write the other terms. Okay, so we have what we call the hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein. So just like I said earlier, that we have different arteries and different veins connected to different parts of our body. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you a chart now for you to understand better what I mean by different veins and arteries in the body. Okay, so just like I explained earlier, that you have different veins in your body and you have different arteries connected to each of your organs. Okay, so as you can see, you have different capillaries, different vessels in this body system. So the vessel in this the blood vessels in this body system, they are named according to where you can find them. Okay, so as you can see, the blood vessels moves around the body. So the arteries, the capillaries, they are named according to where you can find them. All right, so I hope you understand better now. So they are named according to um where you can find them. So talking about the hepatic portal vein, the hepatic portal vein is found around your stomach, around this region. All right, it's found around this region. So where you have your stomach, your liver, your pancreas, all these organs, your spleen, where that region where you have your digestive organ, that is where you have the hepatic portal vein. And the function of the hepatic portal vein is that it carries nutrient rich, but then the oxygen in this area sometimes it's poor. It is not rich. That is, the blood here, it is not rich in oxygen. So the function of this vein is that it carries the nutrient rich but oxygen poor blood from the digestive organ. It carries it from the digestive organs, that is where you have your intestines. We have talked about the digestive system, right? So where you have your intestines, your large intestines, your stomach, your pancreas, your spleen, where you have all those organs, that is where you have the hepatic portal vein. So the function of this vein is that it carries the oxygen poor blood from this region. It carries from this region to the liver. Don't forget, your liver is beside your stomach. All right. So if for those that attended the last class, we talked about the digestive systems, and I showed you the different organs. I showed you the picture, the diagram where all the organs are located. So if you can remember, you see that the liver is beside the stomach. Okay, so this vein carries the oxygen poor blood from the digestive system to the liver. All right, so the liver processes and detoxifies the absorbed nutrients before they enter the systematic circulation. All right, don't forget we talked about different three major circulations today. We talked about the pulmonary circulation, we talked about the systematic circulation, and we talked about the lymphatic circulation. So hepatic portal vein is located in this region, and it works at the digestive system area. That is where we have the hepatic portal vein. Okay, so we also have the pulmonary vein. The last time when I defined the arteries, the veins, the capillaries, I said the arteries carries oxygenated blood away from the heart. Then I said except the pulmonary artery. Also, the vein which carries the oxygenated blood. All right, I said except the pulmonary vein. So we are going to talk about the pulmonary artery, the pulmonary vein, and some other terms in circulatory system in our next class. All right, so I am going to do a recap of everything we have discussed today. So we started from the circulatory system, and I said the circulatory system functions in transporting your different substances, nutrients, water, waste products, with substances, oxygen, and all other substances in the body. That is the function of the circulatory system. All right. So we talked about the transport generally. We talked about the transport in plants, the transport in animals. Okay. So talking about the systems involved in transport in plants, we talked about the xylem and the phloem, in which I explained that the xylem transports water and minerals from the soil. That is, it carries the blood, it carries the water and the minerals to the other part of the plant. All right, that is the function of the xylem. And I explained that the phloem carries food to the other part of the plant using three major processes, which are the diffusion, the osmosis, and the active transport. All right, so that is what we discussed on plants. So talking about transport in animals, we made mention of two major systems. All right, just like in plants that we have two major systems. In plants, we have the xylem and the phloem. Those are the two major systems in transport. Okay, so for mammals or for animals, we also have two major systems, which are the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. All right. So the circulatory system functions in transporting different nutrients, water, waste products, substances around your body, throughout the body, while the lymphatic system works alongside the circulatory system. That is, it transports the lymph from the word lymphatic, transport the lymph, all right, alongside the circulatory system, because the function of the lymph is that it helps the body to fight against infections. So it helps the body to fight against infection. So that is the function of the lymphatic system. So those are the two major systems in animals. And we talked about the circulatory system. We looked into the heart, we looked into the blood vessels, which are the veins, the arteries, and the capillaries. And we looked into the blood itself, in which I said the blood has four components, which are the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the platelets, and the plasma, as you can see here on the bird. All right. So we have the red blood cells, the white blood cells, platelet, and the plasma. All right. So these are the things that we discussed today. Okay. So I'm going to be giving us some questions. I'm going to be giving us some questions so that you can see how um, questions come on this topic, so that you can be familiar with the questions. You see how they say their questions on this topic. And then if you have any question, like I said earlier, please send in your questions so we can treat them together. So I'm going to be giving us some questions now. Then I want to wipe off the board so we can have space to paste our question. All right. So the first question, is the okay 2024, 2024. That is where we have the first question, 2024. All right. So this question says, after a meal of yam has been digested, the highest concentration of glucose is to be found in the dash. After a meal of yam has been digested, the highest concentration of glucose is to be found in the dash. A. Hepatic artery. B. Pulmonary vein. C. Hepatic portal vein. And D. Posterior vena cava. So I want you to attempt this question, send the answer using the chat box, and so we can move to the next question. So I read again. After a meal of yam has been digested, the highest concentration of glucose is to be found in the dash. A. Hepatic artery. B. Pulmonary vein. C. Hepatic portal vein. And D. Posterior vena cava. You see, when you see a question in an exam, sometimes the questions are not direct. The questions are not direct. If you could remember, I made mention of the artery and the veins attached to different areas in our body. I said something that the veins and the arteries, they are named according to the regions, according to the area where they are located, where they are found. And I made mention of the digestive organs. All right. So if you look at this question very well, they are trying to test you on the type of veins and arteries found in different area, different location in your body. So after a meal of yam, that is after you have eaten yam, the highest concentration of glucose is to be found in. So they are just trying to ask you about the vein located at that region, talking about the digestive organs. So, and I could remember I made mention of the vein located at that region, which is your hepatic portal vein. So, hepatic portal vein is located at that region, and that is what they are trying to test you. You have no business with the food. They are not really testing you on the type of food you ate. All right, so they are trying to ask you the type of artery or vein located in your digestive organs, in your digestive system, which is the hepatic portal vein. So your answer is C. Your answer is C, hepatic portal vein. All right. So we will look into one more question before we go. We are looking into one more question. All right, so I want to wipe off the bird. You I hope you grasp what I just explained. All right. So the next question is 2022. The next question is 2022. This question is very simple, and I have made mention of something like this today. So this question is simple. 2022. All right. 2022. So the question says, the components of blood in man. The components of blood in man are A. Red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, and water. B. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and plasma. C. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. D. Red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, and platelet. So what is the answer here? The answer is your D. That is the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the plasma, and platelet. So trying to look into some other questions on the app, check other questions so you can understand better. So thank you for joining today's class. See you in the next class. Bye.